I'm excited to talk to the Flyers president, Keith Jones, who, by the way, I know for sure knows that a Zach Wheeler Eagles question is an absolutely outrageous question by James Seltzer and merits a redo. All right, the president of the Philadelphia Flyers, of course, has had quite a last few days as the team hired Rick Tocchet as the team's new... By the way, we're going to get Rick on the show sometime soon, communicating yesterday with the Flyers, which is ironic because we're about to communicate with the Flyers.
Here, do you want to just ask him directly?
Yeah, really. Yeah. What are you thinking?
He's on the West Coast right now. It's 4:34 a.m. out there. It's fair. The president of the Philadelphia Flyers, Jonesy, how are you, pal?
I'm doing great, Joe. How are you?
You're not used to sitting in that chair right there, are you?
No, this was not my chair. John's in my chair right now.
Want to switch?
Yeah,
no, it's good.
I should just swap out. I really could, and I could move my stuff. It's not a problem.
It's amazing how great the place looks right now.
Well,
you guys did a nice job.
Thanks,
nice.
Yeah.
Everything around here. It was great to see some people I hadn't seen in a long time.
Yeah, listen, we got a good vibe in here right now, and it's all going well. So how are you, pal? We'll get to the team, but how are you?
I'm doing great. It was fun to drive in here. I had a moment. I forgot where I was going, so it's been a while since I came in. I think over my time doing the show, I went to 4 different studios, if I'm not mistaken. Rita, is that right?
Willow Street, Balakinwood, 400 Market, and here.
Yeah. So I had a little cramp in my brain. I'm going, which one am I going to right now?
He did. He sent me a text. He goes, "Were you still in the same spot?" I'm like,
great,
"Yeah, Jones, you haven't moved."
It's funny.
So, Jonesy, the WIP Jonesy who would just let it rip. We're going to get measured Jonesy here, or are we going to get let it rip Jonesy?
You never know with me, right? But I really enjoyed letting it rip on this show. I can tell you that. So it was fun.
Congrats on Rick as the there's a buzz in the air, obviously.
Yeah.
And and by the way, we're going to take tons of calls while Jonesy's here for the next couple hours. Some obviously on the Flyers, but also just settling in to do a normal show on all the topics. The Tocchet thing, man. I mean, the town is definitely buzzing.
Yeah, and really that's not the reason we hired him. That's kind of a little extra, a cherry on the top. But there's no doubt that Rick was the best coach for the job. It took a lot to get him. It was no given. Just I think it did help us that he had played in the city and kind of was beloved here.
Definitely beloved.
I think it worked for him, in order to sell what we have going on here to him. He was very popular. There was a lot of teams that were after him, and it was not an easy get. So I was happy that process ended the way it did, but it was long and it was hard. I give him credit. He's, as anyone who knows Talk recognizes the fact that he's his own man. He's going to do things his way, and I appreciate that about him, but he definitely was a challenge to land to get him to come here.
How much does it help with the players that he has the Philadelphia history?
I think it matters. I do. I think our players, especially ones who have been here for an extended period of time, thinking of Konechny or Sanheim, 2 guys that actually had a chance to play under Rick at the Four Nations, I think to those guys it matters. They want to be here forever. When you're a Flyer, you don't want to leave. And when we trade players or we, don't extend players, they're upset. As much as we have not been a great team for, a long time, players don't want to leave here. They're treated very well. So I think the fact that they see, that there's opportunity after their playing careers are over to possibly stay and see that there's something here about the history of the team, I think they appreciate that.
Jonesy with the unmistakable voice. Do you miss the morning show, Jonesy?
I do. I even miss getting up. I wake up early all the time.
As early?
As early. More. Sometimes it's like, well, especially with this job, there's always something on your mind. That's the biggest difference for me is I came in here and I just had a clean slate every day I came in when I was doing radio. Nothing carried over as long as I didn't say something so stupid or outrageous that I was getting in trouble. But now it's every day there's something there's always something on your mind. It could be 1,000 things on your mind, but that's one of the biggest difference I have in my life now is that there's a continuation on a daily basis of everything that's going on because you want to get it right.
I really wanted to ask you if the brain fog lifts when you get to sleep, and you're telling me you just don't sleep regardless.
Yeah, no, it stays with you. But I was lucky. I was always an early riser, like no matter what. Man. So it kind of became the perfect job for me. So no matter what time I was finished doing a hockey game the night before or coming back from Connecticut when the NBC studios were there, I never had a problem getting up. And as you guys know, with Angelo, there is no tired. So for 21 years,
or late in radio,
there's not. And he made that clear to me like probably the fourth day I did the show with him, and I was like, okay, I get it.
There it is.
And that was it. And then he never had to say another word to me about that, which I guess I'm proud of that. You know, Angelo is a very demanding person to work with because he wants his show to be great. And if you can handle him, you can handle a lot.
You can handle the rebuild of the Philadelphia Flyers.
I believe that. I do think the two do match up pretty well.
All right, let's get a lot of calls in here with Jonesy for the next 2 hours. We got some Flyers questions and more for him. Let's get to Ty right now. Ty, good morning. Yo, Ty. Ty not ready to go. We go to Ed. He's calling from Phoenixville. Ed, good morning.
Good morning, team. Good morning, Jonesy. Great to speak with you.
Thanks, Ed. How you doing?
Pretty darn good. Really excited to see what the continued progress of the Flyers, and despite kind of where they ended up this season, it was the first time I was really ever excited about the prospect going forward. And it's a testament to the work that you and Briere are doing in that front office. So keep it up.
I appreciate that. We're getting there, starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I appreciate you and other fans that are sticking with us, and we want to continue to add fans along the way because we're not there yet, but I think in due time we're going to get there, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, though I have to say, my wife and I used to go to games all the time before kids, and her favorite part of the game was all the fights, and I'm telling you that there's not as many of those anymore. So she was like, "I'm not going to a game unless there's a fight." So I'm like, "Well."
Then you're not going to a game.
Well, you never
probably
know.
Not.
Yeah, but it's rare.
We'll try to mix a couple in there for you.
Talk to the league.
There we go. Headline: Keith Jones says we're bringing fights back to hockey.
Talk to that Bettman guy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Tell him more people were watching 30 years ago. That's just me. All right, Ed, what do you got on the Eagles?
Yeah, so I'm so excited about. It was weird because I was reading the Joe Douglas article on my phone yesterday, and then all of a sudden my phone blows up with the Sirianni extension. But about Joe Douglas briefly, and he was so instrumental in assembling that roster in 2017. Finding guys like LeGarrette Blount, Patrick Robinson, Torrey Smith to kind of fill those holes there, and I think. With him back in the building now, a former Ozzie Newsome disciple who spent 15 years as a Raven scout. So it's like the rich get richer. It's an already great personnel department, and having his perspective in there. And I think he may have been a bit over his skis as an actual GM, but now he can just focus on evaluating talent.
Well, what the irony of his tenure in New York is, Ed? I thought he did a lot really well, actually, with roster construction, but where he was screwing it up was quarterback and coach.
And the owner doesn't help up there.
And the owner doesn't help. But, you can't win in the NFL without some combination of quarterback and coach. Maybe you can get by without one, but not the other. If you don't have either, then you're in deep trouble. But he drafted really well. I mean, Sauce Gardner, the running back, he brought in a lot. So you hope, like you said, he can bring that roster construction back here with his new role with the Eagles. All right, Ed, give me a great answer. This is for Phillies tickets today. The best TV duo of all time.
How about Laverne and Shirley?
That's another big one, man.
Big.
For sure. Let's get to the Twitter poll questions of the day. We got two different questions, both brought to us by Armin Chevrolet. Do more and get more. In a 2025 Armin Chevrolet Trailblazer, starting at only $23,995. Together, let's drive. See Armin's inventory at arminchevy.com. First poll question, do you think the Tush Push will be banned this offseason? Put another way, like this week. But we're broadening it out to the whole offseason. But if it's going to go, it's probably going to go this week. Do you think it gets dinged on out? Yes or no? Second poll question. With Sirianni getting this contract extension and being one of 3 championship-winning coaches this century in Philadelphia sports, we ask you which of these 3 unbelievably, highly doubted championship-winning coaches were we, the collective Philadelphia sports fans, most wrong about? We put them in chronological order. A, Charlie Manuel, eviscerated for a couple of years. The Jim Leland thing, right? Charlie, heavily scorned. B, Doug Peterson, heavily doubted and scorned. C, Nick Sirianni, flowers in his feet year 1, and people wanted him fired year 4 in October. Who were we most wrong about? You can vote at Sportsradio WIP on Twitter. All right, Jonesy.
Good question, Joe. Good question.
Yeah, you get back in the sports.
That was really good. Really good.
Buddy. All right, here's the main question, Jonesy, I got for you, because I appreciate all the buttering me up. I got all jokes. I got one question for you about the Flyers. It really matters. When are you guys going to try to win? And I know
we're shifting now.
Okay,
it's kind of been clear. Like if anyone really read through the tea leaves, we were clear without actually saying it on where it was headed. We will finally start to have some cap flexibility this offseason. Doesn't mean we're going to spend it this offseason. That has to be the right player or players. And then the following year, we have a lot. So I think it's important that, not just we understand, but the league and players understand that the Flyers are going to be in play again. And they haven't been in a long time. There's been no room to do anything, and things were kind of kicked down the road a little bit. I guess the can was kicked, and in order to try to maybe survive or to hang around longer in certain positions, and we're not gonna do that. We haven't done it, and now we'll start to make some really important decisions on moving the team forward, rather than what we've done over the last 2 seasons and move the team. In some cases backwards, just in order to get some cash to spend and get out there and make sure we can make our team better.
Are the days, because it's happened 2 years in a row, of trading at the trade deadline when you are in contention for a playoff spot and you deal away multiple quality players, are those days over?
I would say yes, but it's still, this year's going to be interesting, but we don't have players that you look at and say, man, we got to do, we have to get this person to another team. We've got to make some room. Doesn't fit into the plans. We're running out of those players, which is great. I mean, that's something that we're striving to get to, and I think we're on our way in that regard. So we'll be focused on, getting this team better. I don't think you land a coach like Rick Tocchet where he's at in his career if you don't have a plan in place that he looks at and goes, okay, I get it. I see where this is heading. And that's really our mindset. We want to get it right, and we want to make sure that we have a great product that can bring our fans back where we're packing, the arena every night.
What's the plan to improve the power play?
Some of that will come by personnel. Some will come from coaching. And, we're doing a deep dive on finding the best power play coach available to come in and help in that regard. It shouldn't be as complicated as it's been made over the last 3 years. There's, things that we can do to fix it, and I think we'll do everything we can to make sure we get that right. And, if you take, a bottom of the league power play and turned it into, somewhere in the mid to late or early 20s, you're going a long way as far as improving your chances of being a competitive team. So it's something that's a focus for us for sure.
What's the timeline for that coach?
It'll happen obviously in the next little while, but it's going to take a little bit of time. We want to make sure that we get the right person. We're not going to rush into it, and obviously it has to work for Rick as well. So it'll be a collaborative effort to find the guy to come in and do it. Talk also has been very good in running power plays. He did that in Pittsburgh in his time there as an assistant coach with, Crosby and Malkin and the teams that won Stanley Cups there. So he's well schooled in what it takes and trying to get that part of the game fixed as well.
All right, Jonesy in studio with us. By the way, Seltzer, the power play savant for the Flyers will not make as much money as Nick Sirianni as the head coach of the Eagles, right?
No, probably not. Yeah.
How much are we looking at? New deal.
First, Nick?
Yeah.
I think it's probably in the 15 a year range.
Has to be.
So do we know the number of years? It does. Do we know the number of years?
I would guess 4 or 5. That's what they always seem to be.
So did he get like 5 years, $75 million?
Maybe. Yeah.
Ben Johnson got 65.
Yeah.
So
if he got 65.
If I'm his agent, I'm going, dude's never coached at head coach.
Yeah. I bet he got 5 years, 75.
He deserves it.
Exactly, Keith.
Yeah,
he earned
absolutely.
it.
Jonesy, how cool is it to see the Eagles do their thing?
It's awesome. It's great. And for us, it's great, too, because, at the point where we're at, having the Eagles be great now is awesome. And it's something to, obviously our fans in Philadelphia love the Eagles. They're always going to be number one. And we want to try to, play a little catch up and bring some fans over to us as well.
All right, let's talk to Ty right now. Jonesy in studio. Ty, good morning.
Good morning.
What's up, Ty?
What's up, pal?
Not much. First of all, real quick, I wanted to talk about how your debacle of the
It beat the hammer?
Beat the hammer.
What a horrible question by Seltzer. Can you imagine that?
Well, as far as your opinion that as far as being the Eagle great is opinion based. So
it is opinion based. Oh, Hugh was a great player. There's no doubt about that.
It's kind of a reach for the reasons that you.
Well, I got to use reaches sometimes. Sometimes reaches are all I got.
Yeah. Well, also you said so. Real quick, how did you get the name Hammer?
Someone gave it to me on the basis of thinking I asked tough questions in press conferences. To the Keith Joneses of the world. Actually, it started with a question to Andy Reid about why are you dismissive and Seltzer, what was the other word in that question?
I can't remember. I remember when it happened. I just can't
remember.
It
was a big thing.
It was a big deal, yeah.
Why are you, wasn't obnoxious, but it was, why are you...
Aloof?
No.
Would you still ask that type of question
Sure.
now? That's good.
Hey, buckle up for the next hour and a half, bud.
Yeah, I was worried. I was getting ready to leave.
No. I just had this weird feeling that you just stole the nickname from Armand Gilliam.
Well, if anybody, I would steal it from Dave Schultz.
I might have.
But
yeah, we don't have any proof, Ty, on where the nickname came from. It's just Joe telling us. So
I like it. All right, Ty, is the Tush Push gone?
I don't think so. But at the same time, I kind of hate when people say, "Oh, the Tush Push is an undesirable play. It's a rugby play," and it's like football was invented because of rugby.
Yep.
Facts. If you look at the definition of rugby, it says that's where football got its origin from.
But things evolve. Right, and aesthetics matter. I mean, listen, Ty, I hear your point, and I know most people here absolutely want it capped. I think it is not a good play for the NFL. I'm just being honest with you.
But the QB sneak is.
QB sneak doesn't have as much help. I mean,
there's very little aesthetic difference.
It's the same freaking play.
I don't buy that.
Come on.
But what's crazy about that play is they can still line up in that formation and do other stuff out of it.
Sure.
Yeah, but they rarely do.
They can't take the formation away.
No.
They're just taking away the play.
Well, they could try to take away the formation.
What they'll take away.
Yeah, but they haven't yet. Ty, give me a duo. Give me an all-time TV duo.
Oh, man.
3.
Tucchet,
2.
Miami Vice.
1. Miami Vice.
Sure.
You got
What's
it, man.
Crockett and Tubbs?
Yes.
Not the best presented, but fair enough. All right, let me give you something from last week. John, this is interesting. Mike Florio, last week, talking about one of the things that's before the NFL owners is the possibility of changing the seating for the postseason.
The Joe DeCamera rule, I like to call it.
Well, I don't think they're getting it right, but yes, I've been calling for this
for a long time, yeah.
For about 15 years. All right.
And why have you been calling for it?
A team that has a lesser record should not get to host a playoff game against a team with a better record. Period. End of story. And they're looking into that. But they're also saying maybe it'll only apply if you're under 500, which happens sometimes, but not that often.
Actually like that.
I think
because I think it gets ridiculous when you've got an 8-8 or a 7-9
totally ridiculous.
and they're hosting.
Totally ridiculous.
That should never happen.
Correct.
So I like that there might be a safety catch that will prevent that.
Here's what I don't think you're going to like with your desire and most people's desire for the Tush Push to stay is something that Florio touched on last week related to the NFL's approach to the playoff seeding thing. Now, I want you to have your Tush Push thinking cap on and how Goodell can operate. Listen to this.
Something else to keep an eye on next week when the owners get together, because Rod Wood, the Lions president, let the cat out of the bag. They proposed the change to the seeding on the playoff tree at the behest of the league. See, the league's got a new way to kind of work behind the scenes to to give a team a nudge to make a proposal that maybe the competition committee for political reasons doesn't want to champion. So the league and the Lions partnered in the proposal the Lions made.
Is that fascinating?
Oh, the league and the Packers, maybe.
And why do you think it's the Packers, James? There's a very specific reason in my mind. There's no owner of that team to be the face of the proposal.
That's interesting.
They're not owned by it. They don't have an owner. They have shareholders. So that's why they're getting nudged, and they keep coming up with more ridiculous reasons.
John, when you hear that's the way the NFL is going about it, that's got to really bother you.
Absolutely, it does.
Because it feels underhanded.
Well, it feels collusion against the Eagles. That's what this amounts to, doesn't it?
Which is kind of odd that, I mean, the commissioner's on the record himself saying he pretty much wants it. I mean, just about saying he wants it gone. So it's a little weird that you have to go.
He said it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he did. He was way more bold with it than I expected.
All right,
but the challenge is 24 votes. You need 24 votes, which is an awful lot. That's 75% of the owners. And, I think some of them care. Not that many of them care. And so here they are on this campaign right now to try to win selfish owners who have their own interests in mind 99% of the time. How do you win a guy like that? What do you dangle?
Well,
I don't know.
You could say to Kraft, I'll never suspend you for when you got caught in that establishment 10 years ago.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how this works.
Jonesy, let me just read
I would have a question, though. Why can't other teams do it? Why don't they just join the Eagles? And
they've tried.
They don't practice it as much.
Why wouldn't you? If it's such a big deal, why wouldn't you just perfect it?
They don't have the personnel, and they haven't developed the technique.
Okay.
I mean, those are
fair, but find the personnel and make it work if it's that big of a difference.
So I think I think we know which way you
defensively that you can figure that you can stuff it. Like, just be better defensively.
Well,
that used to be you had to figure out a way. It used to be, and now it's like, well, we'll just change the rules because the Eagles have taken this so far. They are so elite. Well, that's not our fault. That's not our problem. That's
agree.
What we're supposed to do. We're our team, our coach, our organization. We're striving for excellence. We have achieved excellence.
They have,
and now we're being punished for that.
Well, here's what the NFL. Well, here's what's in front of the NFL with the proposal put forth by the Packers, and I won't read all of it, but I'm going to get to the key line. Key line is this: Article 4, assisting the runner and interlocking interference. And remember, this is new language that was put forth for this week. This is not the same language as March. It's trying to go back to what the NFL had prior to 2005 as the official rule. It says no offensive player may, I'm going to get to the key line, assist the runner except by individually blocking opponents for him. Put another way, no more push. So, Jones, do you think the NFL is going to get this wrong if they like?
I do.
You think it's unfair?
I think back to in the 80s in hockey when the Oilers would get it 3-on-3 and Gretzky would light it up, and it almost became like he was so good, and he was so good at playing in 3-on-3 situations, they took that rule out. And in order to, inhibit him from continually lighting up in 3-on-3, they changed the rule. And it made it fairer for everybody else because he was that much greater at it than everybody else. Eventually, the league switched back and can't get enough 3-on-3. I do think you make mistakes in doing that. And I loved watching Gretzky in 3-on-3. So why would you change something that's, because he's so much better, much like the Eagles are so much better at the tush push, why would you change it?
James, is this thing gone this week?
I'm nervous that it is. I'm leaning that way. It might, it's definitely going away. Whether it's this week or next year, I think it's absolutely gone. I would say yes, but I wouldn't be totally shocked if it passes this time.
Well, I will say this. I think it has a better chance to go this year than next year from this standpoint. Eagles aren't going to win the Super Bowl every year. So I think they are most vulnerable at this moment. I think the play is most vulnerable at this moment.
It's a fair point. Makes sense.
Let's go to the phones. Let's get to Dave in Bucks County. David, good morning, pal.
Hey, morning, fellas.
What's up, Dave?
How we doing?
Great.
Yeah, I don't know about the Tush Push. I think it's going to hang around for another year or two. I'd like to see it hang around, but you never know with the he's going to do.
You never know, man. I kind of think it's going to be gone in the next couple of days, Dave. I guess in many ways we'll find out the sway that the commissioner has, and frankly that other owners have, because I would guess that there are owners trying to lobby owners.
Oh, well, the Eagles supposedly have been on the phone lobbying.
Well, exactly.
That was reported yesterday.
Yeah.
They're making, Goodell's making deals with owners who were on the fence, saying, I'll give you, all of a sudden you're going to see things that certain teams are going to get.
I'll give you that 2030 NFL draft in your city, Rhea.
Exactly.
I'll give you that.
100%.
Seriously.
Oh,
You want us to
have
help push your new stadium? No problem.
Yep.
We're on it. Yeah.
Exactly.
For real. That's like absolutely the kind of stuff that's happening. Yeah.
It's like we're down in D.C. now with politics. Getting dirty.
Oh, no.
DC Stadium just got announced, right? Oh, huh.
Go ahead,
That's a
Dave.
whole nother issue down there.
Sure.
Yeah, well, Goodell's got pushing. You've seen him on the McAfee show, so I mean, he wants it gone. He don't want to see it around.
He wants it gone.
Seems that way.
Yep.
Phillies plays Phillies, huh?
Yeah, it's exciting, man. I think they kind of got to both first place in the NL East and first overall in the National League, which if you're just waking up to the news last night with the Phillies win late and the Mets loss and the Dodgers loss, the Phillies have the best record in the National League. John, wouldn't you say that snuck up on people?
I think so. I'd say so.
Right.
And it helps a lot that the last couple series have been against some, substandard competition. But yeah, when we play great opponents, we're neck and neck. It's really obvious when we play teams like the Rockies and Pirates how good we are. And especially when guys are just starting to really turn it on. Bryce is getting hot. Alec Boehm finally hitting the ball out of the yard last night.
Yeah.
Trey also. It feels like we're finally to the point where guys are playing like they're supposed to.
All right, Dave, give me an answer for a great TV duo. You can win the Phils tickets.
How about John Madden, Pat Summerall?
Yeah, okay. If we go that direction. So we said we're open-minded.
Great answer.
I mean, we'll see if we
TV.
go there. Yeah, it is. I just don't know if we're going to announcing, but it's up there. All right, let's get to how the Phils won last night. So if you missed it, well played game for a while. Not poorly pitched by Sanchez, gives up 3 runs in 6 innings, but the Phils are down. So Bryce has both RBIs to this point as they enter the 8th inning. Phils are down 3-2. Down 3-2. Alec Boehm with what I would certainly think was his biggest hit of the year.
Boehm swings, hits it high in the air, center field. It's pretty deep. Going back, Doyle to the track, to the wall. He jumps. It's gone. Dead center field. And Alec Boehm clears the 4:15 sign. And he turns the game around here in the top of the 8th inning. 4-3 Phillies as Alec Boehm hits his 3rd home run of the season.
Big hit. Dead center field, big hit by Boehm. And then from there, the Phils really started piling it on, including another hit in the 8th.
Swung on, hit in the air, right center field. It's falling. It'll drop for a base hit. And it gets by. It's going to the wall. Sosa scores. Marsh coming in to score. Turner's in at second. It's a 2-run double. And the Phillies with a 6-3 lead now in the 8th.
It's 94 WIP HD1 Philadelphia as we broadcast today from the Tasty Cake studio. Jonesy in studio with us, and the Phils, believe it or not, in first place. We have people that call our show. I know Patrick in Tabernacle, John. He always says, I'm a Memorial Day guy. Check in with me on Memorial Day about the standings. Well, pre-Memorial Day, a couple days before, Phil's with the best record in the NL, and one of the big reasons, of course, is Kyle Schwarber. Not just for the first 2 months, but specifically last night, not only a big spot in the 9th inning when the Phils tacked on to really salt this thing away, but for his career, a big moment last night in Kyle Schwarber's career.
Respects. 3-2 is blasted way back to right field. And that hits off the 3rd deck. A titanic blast from Kyle Schwarber. My goodness, there's number 16 on the season. And that is a way to hit number 300.
A lot of congratulations today to Sirianni, the contract extension, to Kyle Schwarber with home run number 300. He spoke after the game about that 300th home run, and he said something, John, I think there's a message in here that Schwarber is sending probably to the Phillies, possibly to other GMs and ownership groups as well. Listen to Schwarber last night after 300.
It's a really cool thing, right, that 300 homers, it's a lot of them, and it's a cool milestone. And I think the biggest thing, right, is just, there's a lot more to come.
A lot more to come. Jonesy, as an athlete, that's what you say when you're in a contract year.
Oh, that's right. I didn't realize that.
You're in your 30s. You're in a contract year.
That's great. He's earned it. He has earned it. He's been awesome here.
So, Jonesy,
were you good at hitting a baseball?
Terrible.
I mean, the implement, like on the puck, the implement on the ball, it seems like there's a similarity.
I loved baseball until I realized the pitcher could hit me in the head with the ball. I don't want to give anybody that much power.
That's classic. Jonesy with us here for the next hour and a half. So, Jonesy, one of the things about Schwarber, and Brandon Graham had it, and Jason Kelsey had it, and a lot of Philly. And you and I have talked about this. Every time you're in here, I address this, and I think it's so important that you got, obviously talent matters most.
Yeah.
But that you get a player that connects with the talent.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
Schwarber's not he's not the Brandon Graham personality. It's a different, he's not that bubbly the way BG is.
No, but style of play fits the city.
No
question about it.
And how he presents himself.
Yeah, an attitude. You can see it.
How high is that on your list of things to try? Here's the way I frame it, Jonesy. I think it would be in you guys' best interest to get a player that we at WIP are dying to bring on to have as a frequent interview. That the guy will bring personality to a WIP interview.
I think with hockey, you have to go above and beyond. That was always the challenge when I was even doing radio here. It was difficult to have, in-depth discussions about hockey because, it just never seemed to lend itself. But characters do bring that out. JR did that for sure. He was really good at that.
Hartnell had some of that.
Yeah, for sure. But we want to encourage, our players to do that. Obviously, when the team isn't in the spotlight as much as the other teams in the city, you have to really grind to get your spot. And it's important that we have players that the city becomes, in love with. And that's their job, to play well. The other challenge is to make sure that we, push them to be outgoing, give the fans a look inside. And there's so many ways that you can do that. No, and it's something that we can do that now. It is something that we want to focus on and make sure that we're getting our players' personalities out. And then in doing that, trying to draw some more people into watching. A great example for me is, and you can look at a number of the Netflix shows that have come out. I wasn't that interested in Formula One until I watched the shows and I got the background and I got to see and understand some of the characters that are, driving those cars. The golfing show on Netflix, Full Swing, was awesome. Now when I turn on golf, I watch to see it. So we have to do that, and we have to do a better job of making sure our players recognize how important it is to put them in the forefront in the city.
What about just fights? I mean, we love
everyone
fights.
does.
How do you balance that?
It still matters. You still need that, and there's no way that you want to be pushed around, but we want to make sure that we're, a highly entertaining team, but a team that's winning and at the same time providing entertainment. So it's a balancing act, but it's not something that we think we should shy away from.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 215-592-9494. I mean, I got to tell you,
encourage that if it's not in a guy's nature.
I would love it.
Man, I feel, and I don't know hockey from a hole in the wall, but man, it just feels like if you're tougher and you're hitting guys harder, and then that bleeds over a little bit into some extracurricular.
It does. And your work ethic matters. The way you work matters in hockey too. That's attractive to people. If you come out and you're, the Florida Panthers are a great example. They ran the Maple Leafs out of the building the other night. Mm-hmm. It's not through fighting so much, but they were physically imposing their will. Mm-hmm. And that does matter, especially in this city.
All right, let's get to Jeff right now. I know one of your classic callers from the old morning show, Jonesy. Jeff, good morning, buddy.
How are you? Hey, Jonesy, Jeff Gordon here. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you?
Congratulations. Big buzz around town, that's for sure. Congratulations on Talk. We got Nick signing an extension. We got the Mighty Metallica coming into town. So it's a big week here. Love what you guys are doing with the Flyers. As you know, I'm a big fan, and congratulations there. And it's great to hear you on the radio as well.
Yeah, it's good to be back here. It seems natural. These guys are doing an awesome job, and it's just fun to be back and talking hockey, and appreciate the support, Jeff, as always.
All right. And I've got a duo here, if you don't mind me.
Let me hear it, Jeff.
Cagney and Lacey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many in TV.
School. Love it.
So you know what hasn't been said? Any of the John? I think Game of Thrones there might be seriously about 30 combos.
Well, I can't believe how many characters there are in Game of Thrones.
Right,
just from the start.
They would go off for like a season on a journey together, and then they would split off, and then like 3 years later they would see each other again, like Tyrion and Bronn. And then there was, Bronn and Jaime Lannister, and there's all those interconnected relationships. All right, we're looking for the best TV duo of all time. Whoever provides it is going to win the Phillies tickets for the June 11th game. That's a Phils-Cubs game. We're all going down, and we can all hang together at that game. Jonesy, more of Jonesy up ahead in studio. Something about the Sixers I got to get off my chest. More on the Sirianni contract. And Frankie Louvu, yeah. That guy who jumped over the pile and over the pile and over and over and over, or the line of scrimmage, I guess you'd call it. He weighed in on the Tush Push. What he said, that and more up ahead. Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie. Jonesy with us as well on 94 WIP. All right,